What is up, YouTube? Today we're looking at something really cool, actually. I have a TFV 18 sitting here, okay? And I got curious, like, when I was in the store the other day. Like, what in the hell is this thing? Now they had it for like 10 bucks. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it. So, I decided to buy it. And little did I know, it was something that was actually pretty damn nifty. Because we all know TFV 16 and TFV 18 are compatible with tank. Actually, I'll just show you. It'd be a lot easier. TFV 18 and TFV 16 is compatible with this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece. All of it. Okay? Because this mix right here is a TFV 16 and TFV 18 pieces all the way around. Both look pretty nice, but actually modifying this one to where it utilized both pieces. Like this is a TFV 18 top with a TFV 16 bottom and a TFV 16 drip tip. They're interchangeable all the way around. Didn't know if anybody really knew that. So you can actually utilize anything TFV 18 to TFV 16, TFV 16 to TFV 18. That's coils too, which is actually what this is. And what comes inside of this box is a TFV RBA, 2 3mm cotton strips, 2 Clapton coils, 4 screws, 1 sealing ring, and a screwdriver. And what that does is actually makes a TFV 18 coil. But I didn't know really much about, like, say, RBA or much of that. So it makes a coil is what it is. It's what a 16 coil looks like and a TFV 18 coil looks like. But it turns it into an RBA, so you have a permanent coil. Like, you won't run out of anything. As you can see, it's an RBA build deck made for TFV 18. And since TFV 18 is compatible with TFV 16, it actually works inside of a TFV 16 too. So you buy that little box to get this coil, slap it inside your deck right quick, slap a couple coils inside of there, wick it up, throw it in the tank, you have an RBA inside of a sub-ohm tank. Because it converts it to a sub-ohm, and this is what it is. Which, the reason why it says Wetufo is because Smock actually works with Wetufo. Have for a couple of years now. I don't know if anybody actually knew that. I think they just wanted their name on the brand here. But this is actually the converter kit, is what I call it. But it takes your TFV 18 and makes it into an RBA tank. Which, like I said, since an 18 is the same as the 16, you can actually buy, like, say you got a couple, like me, I have 2 16s and an 18 sitting around. I'm going to buy 3 of them, and I have 3 RBAs right off the bat. Like, oh, which one do I want to use today? Because the 18 is just a little bit smaller than what the 16 is inside of like juice capacity. But it's actually a really cool idea. And it's not just the TFV 18 and 16 that actually have an RBA. I got to digging into it a little bit. The TFV Prince actually has one that you got to hop online and buy. They're only like 10, 15 bucks. The Cloud Beast King actually has one, which is this big bad boy right here. The Cloud Beast King also has an RBA deck, which the Cloud Beast King already holds coils that goes all the way up to 300 watts. And the RBA section for this thing is gnarly as shit. Flavor phenomenal for days on that one too, but we'll get into that some other time. But this is the TFV 18 RBA, which actually is compatible with 16 also. So like I showed you, you can literally just pop that top off after putting in your RBA deck inside of there, and you just drop 2 coils, beep, beep, straight down in, 2 big-ass juice wells on each side, which for this one you actually do need quite a bit of cotton, like a lot of cotton for some reason. As you can see, a lot of cotton. So just wick her up, drop your cotton down in there, and what I do is I suggest cutting it out a little bit further, fluffing it out like you normally do with any build. Go to drop her down there and you're like, a little too much, snip a little bit off until it fits just right. Because the way the airflow, or like how it juices, is actually 2 big old holes that are right here on the side in the bottom. And I don't know if you can see that, because I mean it's a tiny hole that kind of sits in there, because it's legitly right there. And if you don't have that like filled up with enough cotton, you'll get a lot of bubbling and gurgling and spit back, and ain't nobody like that. So after you build that, actually, which is quite easy, like I said, you literally just drop your coils in there, and the claptons that actually come with it, they're already pre-cut too, so legitimately you can just drop them in, wake it up, go. Which they're cut at like a 5.5. So if you do have some coils and you got a coil cutter like measure thing, about 5.5 is actually where they're at. So go ahead and build her up. Then you just slap your top on. And like I said, this is a converter. TFV18. Here's the top. You just slap her on in there just like you would with a regular coil. But now you got a permanent coil that's an RBA. Put her on top of a mod that you want to run for the day. Oh, what juice do we want to go with? Actually, let's go with this iced juice. Go ahead and you fill her up just like you normally would, just like a regular tank. Looks like there's a little hole in the top of my juice bottle there. Not a big deal. I'll switch it to a different bottle. After you build it, that's what it is. TFV18 with an RBA converter. So instead of going and buying coils, you get a coil that you get to build on with claptons, cotton, and all of that to convert your sub-ohm tank to a rebuildable. That's actually ingenious. Smock, you actually did something fucking right. Not just fix your tanks so they don't leak so we can continue to use this thing. But let's take a hit off in her. A lot of airflow and a lot of flavor. That RBA is actually nice because a lot of times you actually mute flavor sometimes out of sub-ohm, especially at a high wattage. Like the way that RBA is, I'm sitting at 100 watts. Like, legitly, 100 watts. And it's hitting like it's kind of down there in wattage, so we'll kick her up to like 120. Yeah, I'm that crazy motherfucker. Still, smooth as could be and phenomenal flavor and clouds coming off of it. And that's an RBA converter. So then you ain't got to buy no damn coils anymore. You can just buy some cotton and some coils, and you're good to go. And the good thing is like when I looked up online too, TFV18 has a converter. TFV16 does to a point, but you really don't need to buy it because TFV16 and TFV18 are compatible. Okay, 18, 16. They're both compatible all the way around. So that RBA will fit inside the 16. And like I said, this is a 16/18 modified together, so it'll still fit inside of there too. So I've got 3 different tanks that I can throw that RBA converter in. But online, you can actually throw one inside. They have a build one for the Cloud Beast King. They have one for the TFV12 Prince. I have found so far a good 3 or 4 different ones. So it looks like Smock actually took a few of their tanks of the TFVs and made an RBA converter for them to make their tank into an RBA tank which is almost like having an RTA. Now, the cool thing that they should have done then is make make a specific top that would almost be like the Zeus, to where we could have like a wide bore drip tip on it then, to like have an actual like RTA kind of like hit off in it. That would just make it even more amazing. Because honestly, when it comes down to it, I don't have no cons about that RBA. That RBA is nice. This thing's got phenomenal flavor. Like, when I had my coils in there, they burnt out pretty quickly. And I've had this one in here now 3 days, and it's just now, and it's because of the sweetness of the juicy scene, because of the brownness on the cotton. It's just now starting to get to that point. Not really. I'm going to actually probably vape on it for another like 2 weeks before it even burns out, almost guaranteed. But this thing is awesome. It's not dry hitting, it's not doing nothing, and then with that thick cotton, and the only thing that it does is it does suck through the juice, because it's just like the TFV 18 and the TFV 16 tank. They're made to be up in the wattage of like anywhere from 90 watts to like 130 watts. It's just made for it. So you're going to fly through your juice. So make sure you keep a bottle of juice on you. But if you're still rocking sub-ohm tanks, but you want to like kind of dabble in the build a little bit, but you don't want to full on go like what I do, say, you know, with the stubby, pulling all that shit out, or even with an RDA dripper kind of thing, you know, wanting to build on posts and all that. You just want to actually build and throw it inside of a tank, instead of like, say, like the Zeus here, where you got to get inside of there and rebuild the whole kind of like thing in the chimney and all that, like an RTA. I would suggest going with an RBA converter for the TFV 18 if you have a TFV 18. If you have a TFV 16, the TFV 18 one will still work in there. So if you see one inside of your store, I suggest picking it up. Like, they're nice and they're cheap, 10, 15 bucks. If you got a Cloud Beast King, they make one online for it too. Same thing with the Prince that's over here. Like, most of the TFVs that I've seen, they make a converter to turn it into an RBA, and actually it gives it a lot more flavor, a lot more cloudage, and a lot more longevity on it though too. So definitely, if you see one and you want to, like I said, you want to dabble in the build a little bit, but you don't want to go full on like all that shit, this is a really good idea. Like, and you want a lot of flavor, you want a lot of just like everything that all of us are actually getting into, all the flavors, the clouds and all that, but you don't want to buy all that. You still want to just rock a tank and a mod. This is the way to go, honestly. And if you don't have a TFV 18 or a TFV 16, shit, go pick one up. Go pick a converter up. You're good to go for a while. Like a while. Run them coils out that would come with the tank, honestly, then throw your RBA in there. You're set at that point for a good couple months. I mean, especially if you want flavor and cloudage. The flavor just does not mute at all. And as you can see, like, I've got this whole room just clouded right up. It, like, she's chucking clouds, making my camera fucking focus in and out, zooming in and out. Definitely, if you got a TFV 18 and a TFV 16, buy that. If you got any of the other ones, look up online, snag another one of the other ones. It is definitely by far worth the money. Moxopal out.